if we want to make our life more peaceful, if we want to find our life find more peace in our life, more calmness in our life, more tranquility in our life, more stability, happiness in our life, we have to reduce, diminish, minimize that selfishness, that self-centeredness, that egoistic mind as much as possible. The less we have, the less painful we are. The less we have that, the less painful we have, the less problem seems strong or bigger. And so, in order to decrease and reduce such selfish, then we have to cultivate the mind, the emotion, thought which oppose that energy, or that mind, or that thought, and that is the cherishing thought for others. This is self-cherishing or self-centeredness, and the other one is centered towards the whole world, everyone. So we have to develop that mind, cultivate that mind. Once we have that mind, that emotion, that thought, then that will reduce that other mind, make it more weak, destroy the power, intensity of that, eventually to get rid of it totally. So that is the compassion. The cherishing thought for others. Opening up for our heart, our mind, towards all sentient beings, instead of just directing toward oneself. So in order to have a true sense of compassion to each and every sentient being, then of course we need to have better understanding of nature of samsara, nature of suffering. Otherwise, again, our compassion can be very limiting, as we often see. When you see immediate pain of someone, the compassion arises. When we see catastrophe or kind of disasters, pain, when we have all this tsunami, flood, or killing in some places, when you hear about it, when you see in media, TV, you feel for them. You feel for them. You feel for them, you feel like, what can I do? Can I contribute something to make the situation better? How can I help? At least we have that thought. Is there any way I can do something? I can contribute something. I can help something. That thoughts come because we see the image of his pain, suffering. Then we see someone who seems all right, seems to have family, good job, good house, good car, no more compassion for such person. Maybe we might feel envy, jealous. I wish I could be like him, her. Do you get it? There's no compassion. There's no feeling for that person. It looks like, instead of compassion, it is like kind of competitiveness. In some cases, you feel like you need to compete and get better than him. You should be ahead of him, and you should be get better than him. In some cases, it's feeling of jealousy in way. So our compassion based on that immediate pain would be still limiting, not limitless. Because our understanding of nature of suffering, nature of samsara is limited. But when we begin to understand, as long as we are in samsara, as long as our existence is controlled, driven by karma and delusions, there is always pain. Sometimes it's more obvious, sometimes it's less obvious. But there is always pain. When we really understand that, then we begin to develop compassion for others. Even from outside, they look all fine. But you know inside, they have a lot of pain. A lot of pain. Some of those pain might not be so obvious, and like physical pain or even emotional pain, but just being under the control, influence of delusion, karma, that itself is painful. That itself is bondage. That itself is prison. You have no freedom, no control over your own life, your own existence. That itself, not having that freedom, that control on your own mind, your own emotion, your own life, your own existence, is a prison. So when we have, the more better understanding we have that, the more we will have able to expand our love and compassion to more other sentient beings. Or even like great bodhisattvas who are in 10 bhumi, 9 bhumi, even they might not have delusions, but still knowing that they have the subtle imprint that is obscuring for them to realize their full potentials. Knowing that they have that incredible potential, but they have not been able to fully realize that potential due to that. Again, you can feel for them. Wishing if they could just overcome that last. It's like you see someone trying to kind of reach on the top and you are excited then to reach on the top, and at the last minute there is unable to make it, and you all are kind of intense, you know, watching some kind of show. Okay, let's say we are watching a show and then someone is kind of trying to reach on the top or the last hurdles and falling on the last hurdle, you know. It is very kind of, you can feel for them, even though they have made from here to here. And you want them to just complete the last one. You really want them to do that. So that is so that is when we can have true love, compassion for even those bodhisattvas. So that is when we have better understanding of that. So in order to have that limitless compassion expanding each and every sentient being, then we need to have better understanding of nature of samsara, nature of suffering, especially the more subtle sufferings, not the suffering of pain. So on the basis of that understanding, so to be able to understand, to be able to see, understand and feel that to others, first we have to feel for ourselves how painful it is when you are under the control or under the influence of delusions. Once you have understanding of that with your own self, then when you understand they are in same situations, then you are able to understand their situation and feel for them more. Then your compassion becomes more stronger, more pure. So, so the great compassion is to be able to see pain, suffering, cause of suffering of each and every sentient beings, recognize that, understand, feel that, and cultivating a strong wish, intention, will to free them from that pain, that suffering, and cause of that pain. That is the compassion, when we have that kind of state of mind, that state of emotion, that kind of. So again, when we try to meditate, contemplate on that, again, you can always bring this, like this morning, someone whom you care so much about, someone who is most close in your, starting with that, most close in your life, someone who cares very much about them, and then going through the whole problems, pain, suffering that they might be going through that, each of them very slowly, trying to really understand their feelings, their pain, trying to not only understand, trying to feel their problem, their pain, as well as the cause of those pain. So then there is strong kind of, when you go through that naturally, then this natural feeling comes where you want to free them from that state of being, from that painful state, that suffering state. It's like, as we mentioned this morning, and the more you think about someone, if your children, the most loved children of mother, is sick, the more they think about the sickness, the pain of that, the more they feel that the wish to free the child from that situation as much as possible, as quick as possible. That will come naturally when you really feel that, when you really see that. So therefore, when you do it, then not only the immediate pain itself, but the pain of the delusions, the problem, the cause of that, all the delusion itself and karma. And then of course we extend that to stranger and enemy and all other sentient beings. Again, you do same. Again, if you are utilizing the Tonglen practice, the method of Tonglen, and especially you are using, if you use the not only Tonglen but the breath as a tool, Then again, as we mentioned before, as you breathe in, you visualize taking all their suffering, all their pain, as well as the cause of all this pain in the form of black light or black smokes, in turn destroying yourself, selfish, self-centeredness. And you do that until you feel that you have really taken away their pain totally, including the causes. And so it is not just doing the visualization, but really feeling it. That is the important part. If you don't really feel it, then even you do the visualization, then it's hard to have really the compassion state of mind. The feeling of unbearable, sense of unbearableness, to see the pain, and on the basis of that, strong intention, wish to free from the suffering or the pain. On the basis of that, then you do that visualization, taking on yourself. So again, as we mentioned before, with the 4 different practice, may all sentient beings, how wonderful it would be, may all sentient beings are free from suffering, cause of suffering. May they be free from suffering, cause of suffering. May I myself free them from suffering, cause of suffering, taking the responsibility. And for Guru Buddha, Guru Daddy, bless me to be able to do that. And then do that contemplations. And at the end you feel so happy, so joy that you have been able to take their problems and free them from all their pain and suffering. Feeling of that incredible blissfulness, feeling of incredible happiness, joy, satisfactions that you have been able to do that. Just imagine someone you care so much and he or she has so much problem, and then imagine that when you have been able to help them to free from that pain, that suffering, how much happy satisfaction it gives you, maybe more than even that person who's relieved from that pain, because you really want it. You really want them to be free from that. And not only you really want them, you wanted to help to do that. And not only they are free, that you have been able to free them to reach that state. So the joy, the happiness, and then trying to remain in that state of incredible blissfulness, joyfulness, satisfaction, happiness that you get by being able to do that. Experiencing that feeling, trying to hold that feeling, experiencing that. And that will give us more confidence in those practices, less fear, less scare of that practices. So I think that is the practice of immeasurable love. Then immeasurable joy, the practice of immeasurable joy. And again, that is kind of giving. When you practice it longly, as you breathe in, again you give in. Or you send in, give in. Immeasurable joy is, of course, when you are more specific, that of course you are very happy, satisfied, very pleased, very joy to see the happiness of others. Especially in these cases, the happiness which is free from suffering means the happiness of liberation, happiness of fully enlightened state. When you see that they have the happiness of liberation and happiness of fully enlightened state, the incredible joy that you feel, incredible satisfaction. You see someone, let's say, someone you care so much about, to see them in that so blissful happiness state. Then again, of course, when you go more, you can think about same persons, someone who is very close in your life, someone who care about that, and then you think about all the good things in their life, all the success they have, whatever success they have, all the good things that is happening and happen in their life, all the happiness, peace they have in their life. Feeling great happiness, joy in that, dedicating all our virtues, all our goodness, positive energy for them to have even more. Whatever they have, they never be separated from that. That happiness, that joy, that goodness, that excellence, that prosperity, may they never be decrease that, may they only increase more and more, eventually have the happiness of liberation and fully enlightened state. So you pray, you dedicate, and then you can even visualize them being in that state, and again feeling the great bliss, happiness, and then may they never be separated from that state. And then you do the same kind of analysis, same kind of contemplation, expanding to the strangers, enemy, and all sentient beings in the same way. So again, that is like, may all sentient beings be never separated from happiness, which is free from suffering. How wonderful, yeah. How wonderful it would be if all sentient beings never be separated from happiness, which is free from suffering. May all